Welcome everyone to our first Justice House Roundtable talk show, and we are going to introduce our panel. So to my right we have
Raekwon Pride.
Felicia Griffman.
Solange Couture.
Ronnie Valladares.
and I'm Vanessa out there. So we're just going to get straight into it. February, it's Black History Month. But why do we celebrate Black History?
I'll go first. Well, to me, it's because our history has been overlooked and essentially taken away from us. Because a lot of times when Black people create new things or are trailblazers, it gets taken away from them and given to somebody else. And if we don't share our stories, no one else will. So it's up to us to inform us of where we came from and what we've done.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very important to talk about and especially highlight a topic like that for everyone to get educated about it, about the topic. It's like when we're talking about the Holocaust and how we're not supposed to forget what happened. I think this is as much an important topic to talk about and not forget what Black people went through in slavery back in history.
And I think with Black History Month, it just it just shows the different things that went on in Black culture. Because it's when you hear Black history, you think slavery, and you think the torture that they had to face and stuff. But in reality, there's a lot to Black culture. There's creations that Black people create that we don't know about. There's a good side of Black history that many people seem to overlook, because all we're taught is okay, Black history, slavery, and
So it's to empower, basically to remember what we went through, but also how we also shaped the modern world, and not to look over the achievements Black people made. You know what I'm saying? Black History Month is showcasing the culture, the businesses, the brilliant Black minds that help shape how we see the world today and how we all how the communities is. You feel me?
Right.
Yeah.
So now, since Black people have always made up America, the Black community basically built America by being slaves and working on it. Do you think they're already part of the culture, part of the history, where we don't need a month to celebrate Black History Month? We shouldn't have a month since we're already part of it, part of building America.
I think it's a little, unfair to relegate our history only to 1 month, because it goes just beyond what we've been through in this country, because life started on the African continent, so there's millions of years of history that we probably just don't know about. And on top of that, like I said earlier, if we don't embrace our culture and make it known, no one else will. And it'll just be a thing that's just in the back of everyone's mind and potentially forgotten.
I think I definitely think we should embrace it, and we should definitely have a month like that. And even though we should embrace it all the time, but it's important to really put focus on it, because they didn't choose to be in that they didn't choose their history, and how they how Black people came up from that. I think we should really embrace that, because we have a lot of Black people that are leaders and good leaders that could have done so much more, and if white people at that time let them. So I think it's super important.
Yeah. So since we're talking about slavery, if, for example, we go back in time and we were forced into slavery, would you try to escape?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How?
And
It's necessary. Either organize, you feel me, rebellion, or go by myself.
Okay, solo mission right here.
I just feel it would be so hard to go by yourself though.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna stay shackled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Escape or die trying.
For real.
Yeah. Wait, what?
I always think we're bad trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
I would try to escape. I don't know if I'm gonna go back and help people. That's the question. Would you guys risk your freedom to go back and try to like save the rest or help the rest?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why would you do that?
Cause like if it's like your family,
That's
you
what
know,
I'm
like,
saying,
and like your friends, like those are people like you're united and like, yeah, you kind of feel like that's okay.
Then you have the cops, you have the rangers, you have, angry white people that are just there ready to like just shoot you. In some states it wasn't even, it was like legal, like,
I mean, we got that now, so like, what's the difference?
And it's worth it. Could you imagine leaving your parents and siblings behind, knowing
Especially when
that
you
those
know,
are the same
yeah,
thing?
like you're free and you haven't like, even if like you like die, like okay, like at least I died, like setting like a better route for like my family, like my siblings, like the younger ones. It's like whoever chooses to follow you can follow you, and whoever doesn't want to, like they can stay. But I feel like I would go back again.
Like it's hard, like I feel like it's hard for me also, cause I'll say yes now, like say there's like white men standing there waiting for me, I'm white, like it's not gonna be the same for me, but I feel like I would definitely like fight for something that I feel is unjust and stand up to those people, but I'm obviously like in a different situation, which is terrible, but.
okay. So, still on the topic of slavery, why do you think people supported slavery back in the day, or why do you think even today people are still, people still don't see anything that was wrong with like enslaving people?
The reason is because the way that people teach others about other different humans, right? So back then during slavery, like, white people were taught that black people were just like below, beneath, like they made them seen as they're not as humans, so they don't have, the guilty conscience of, doing what they did during slavery. And even now, even in some states, they'll teach slavery in a more watered down way, to make it seem like, oh, it wasn't just that bad. You know what I'm saying? They do this like a lot of like different times to justify like the means, like what is it called? Like when you justify the means by using like certain analogies. So they'll say like we already know how they try to like make black people seem less human. They try to do like the 1/3 laws.
Yeah.
Mm.
3/5 compromise.
3/5 compromise, They did auctions to make them seem more like, they even had zoos of black people, so they tried to dehumanize them so, white people couldn't have any feelings towards them, like, oh, if they're just like how other animals are, then, feel me?
Yeah.
I agree, because if you can dehumanize someone, it makes it much easier to bring them harm. That's why when a country's in wartime, their propaganda just makes the other side seem as unhuman as possible. And it works, because when you're looking at another human being, you have empathy. You're like, oh, I'm that person. But if someone is constantly telling you, oh, they're not human, they're animalistic, they're savage, then it makes it easier to rationalize within yourself that, oh, I can cause harm to this person, because it's not really, in their mind, it's not really a person. It's just someone that's less than.
Well, I just feel like it's not human, like, to do something like that to a person, The white people, or like white men, mostly, those are the people like not being human, like in my head, like when you think about it.
Yeah, I still think it's weird how like that's certain people's mentality even today. Like black people are considered like the aggressors, they're considered violent. And so it's like cops for instance, like they'll harm a black man because he's a danger to society. And you would think that's like a mentality that they'll have during slavery, but they still have it to this day, so.
Yeah, so you brought up a really good point, cops. Now, you guys have all heard about what happened to Tyree Nichols, right?
No.
No. So that's the guy that got murdered by 5 black police officers. Now, how would you describe that? Because it was black on black. Would you consider that a black on black crime now? Since it wasn't the white man that the whole narrative of a white man killing an unarmed black man. This is like black on black.
the thing is, even if it's black folks killing other black folks, if when you look at the police department, it's mainly made up of white men in superior like authority, right? So when you have that power, and then when you have like other people telling you, okay, you can do this, that, and the third, then even if you're from like a different culture, it's still gonna translate to you because now you're surrounded by this one environment. So it's like, you know, they could have possibly been having, you know, been fed information that even as much as they don't want to say like, oh, you know, I'm not learning from these, you know, white people like how they used to treat us back in the day. At the same time, you listen to it over and over again, and it's gonna at some point in time gonna like translate to your own actions, right?
Mm-hmm. And I believe that because it's like you're a product of your environment. So if you're around like a certain mentality, that's what you're gonna grow up believing. And yeah, it doesn't matter if it's like color of your skin. Like if you're brought up like hating black people, you're going to hate black people. If you're brought up hating white people, you're going to hate white people. It doesn't matter the skin color.
Why do you think that there's like a lot of black people hate their own skin? They're growing up around people. First of all, they're growing up around, you know, light skinned people, which that's all they see, and then they're also growing up with like, the fact that like people who are lighter skinned are more loved, so they start hating their own skin and start either bleaching themselves or just like, you know, attacking other black folks because of the color of their skin.
Yeah, like heavy on the bleaching skin. Like a lot of like darker women, especially, like they tend to not love themselves because society has this thing like lighter women are more attractive, and it's like you would think as like a black human like we're all one, but like the fact that we're brought up with that mentality, where it's like separating others. Like there is dark skin, brown skin, and light skins, and like dark skin are trying to become light skin so they could feel loved by their own people, when in reality we're just one like people.
I feel like we're so focused on like putting people into boxes all the time and like separating everyone. Like you're even though if you're like dark skin, light skin, like Hispanic, like white, like why do you even want to know? Like me, I'm from Sweden, so I came here and the first thing I had to fill out was like, what are you, white, black, or like Hispanic, Latino, like all this, and I'm like, why do they ask me this?
Yeah, and it's like
What? Why do you have to fill out this form like for everything? And it's not like the first time I came here. It's like it's been so many times I have to fill that out, and like it feels so weird to me. I'm like put myself in a box, and like I don't want to be in that box, like you know. And we don't do that back home, so it was like very weird for me to just like why do you wanna know what's the difference? Like what difference does it make that I put down that I'm white or I'm Hispanic or I'm black?
Yeah.
It doesn't make
And
sense.
it says like jobs don't discriminate, schools don't discriminate, but even like applying to NU, they ask like, oh, what's your
Exactly.
applying to
That's
the
what
job you're
happened.
in right now. Like, are you black? Are you white? Are you like? Why does that matter if I'm coming to a job to work or if I'm coming to school to learn? Why does it matter like ethnicity or like the color of my skin? Like, what do you guys do with that information?
Exactly, and like you should be going on like credibility, like what, like how smart, like I don't know, like grades and stuff,
Yeah.
what you did
Like, it should be
before.
my skills. Like if they ask like, okay, what are your skills? Like what are your reasons? That's different. But like knowing not even who you are, but like your background is just so weird to me because it's like, okay, I'm telling you, I'm a black person. Now what? Like what do you do with that? Like okay, I'm black. Okay, I'm white. Okay, I'm Hispanic. Why you guys need that information?
I'm glad you brought up like job interviews and stuff, because there's evidence that like if you have a more white sounding name, you're more likely to get a call back at a job.
Yes.
No, I actually have a lot of friends like that they change their last name because they're black, and like that shouldn't be the case.
Like when I applied for my first job, my name is Raekwon, right? So some middle-aged white man, that probably sounds like it's a ghetto thug or something like that. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what if I don't get this job because of my name? But I was like, this is a grocery job. It cannot be that serious. But it still lingers in my mind sometimes. And then now if my name was Jonathan, I probably wouldn't have this problem at all. Fortunately, this hasn't affected me in any way. I hope it never does, but I know that it affects people on a daily basis all the time.
But what about someone that has a really white name and they walk in but you're black.
That's good for them. It's gonna throw off the people there.
Yeah, well, are they gonna get hired
That's
though?
what I'm
Because
saying.
now they got
Yeah.
catfish based on the name.
Yeah, because now they can't double back on what they did. They already hired you. Now, if you come in and they decide to fire you, then you can sue them for discrimination.
But I've heard so many times, like, my name, Felicia, back home. They're like, I came into America and they're like, oh, Felicia, that's a black name. And I'm like, what? I'm like,
yeah, like even like if you
Like,
have a black
what?
girl named Sophia, oh, you have a white name. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
like,
think your
why-
name was Sophia. I didn't
no.
think your name was this.
I was like shocked. I was like, okay. Like, no, it was like so weird to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
it really does matter, I feel like. And like, I don't feel like I never, like, that would have never like crossed my mind when I like apply for a job. Maybe that I'm a woman, but never for my name, you know. So, it's
or
crazy.
have you, since we're talking about names, switch it to like boys. Have you ever on the phone someone tell you,
Yes.
oh, you sound,
Or like you
different.
read white.
or you act?
Yeah. Well, having a white voice. So I work in customer service at my job at the IT department, and I've also worked at the grocery store a few years ago. And it's like, I have to be aware of how I talk sometimes. Like I try not to use too much slang when I'm talking on the phone, but like in a professional setting. So I'll be like, hi, my name is Rick Juan. Welcome to IT. How can I help you? Like stuff like that. I don't actually do that for the record, but I'm just saying things like that. But it's just the fact that I even have to do that is a little like kind of disturbing. When I can just speak how I want to speak. Where if I try to speak in slang, that's considered unprofessional, but in reality, it's just how I speak.
Right.
And then like when this continues and people ask why we shouldn't have like Black History Month, this should be the answer, you know? Like this is why. Like people should be educated in what actually is going on in this society still.
Yeah. Yeah, code switching. What do you guys know? Like, have you heard of code switching? Have you done code switching? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've like yes, and it's like I met this one girl and she's from Nigeria, but we were in class and it's like I never thought she was Nigerian because I usually do not see that side of her. So we were in class and like the teacher asked like where's everyone from, and she answered and I asked her like oh my gosh I never knew you were Nigerian. She said yeah like I don't show it because of where I like at. She said if I do show it like they would look at me differently, and she just stopped and I just found it like so shocking that she has to hide who she is because she thinks she will be viewed differently.
it's crazy.
Code switching is a very interesting thing, and some people say that it dates back to slavery, like with most things involving our history, mainly because how enslaved people have to speak to their enslavers, like oh yes sir, yes ma'am, yes master, blah blah blah. But when they're talking to their friends and family, they're just speaking regular, and it's like that can happen at a moment's notice. So you need to be able to switch depending on who you're talking to, otherwise you get punished. So I'm not sure if that's 100% true,
I like that though.
That's
It makes
just
sense to
weird.
me, yeah.
but when you think in the context of everything else,
That makes sense. I never thought of it like that. Because oftentimes when I hear code switching, because there just actually statistics, like I did some research how code switching, especially for like Black women, that was what my research was on specifically, how it significantly affects anxiety and depression. Because it's like at your workplace you have this identity. If you go home, you have a different identity. So like you guys relate or speak on like identity issues like in like the African American community. Yeah, like are you one person? Do you act a certain way when you are, among a certain group of people, and then you go back and then you act a certain way, like having like two distinct
Like I feel like I'm completely different when I'm here, and when I'm back home, like even in in Sweden, like I feel like I'm completely different compared to like, and in my family and with my friends, I guess, it's completely different as well.
I wouldn't say I'm like completely.
Okay, no, yeah, no, maybe
different.
completely, but like
Mhm.
there's like maybe, you bring out like stuff.
So it's like, cause like the reason why I say is cause like, my mom is from Cameroon, my dad is Jamaican, so it's like when I go home, like I would speak French or when I'm saying things with her, I would speak Patois with my dad, or when I'm on the phone with my family, like I can't just like speak English because some of them don't understand it. So I would have to speak like their language, like what I learned. So it's not like completely different. It's just when you're around like people that speak English, you speak English. When you're around people like from like your hometown, you speak like your home language. So I think, yeah.
So Ronnie, I know there was one time we were talking about code switching, and you said yes. What you got for us?
I mean, like, feel me? Every time I speak, it's like I always use slang. Like when I'm around friends, when I'm around people, but like when I change like my environment, like when I speak to like a professor or something like that, like I tend to like speak like just like more white. Like I don't use no slang. I be like, yes, oh, thank you, good morning, feel me? I don't even say none of that to none of my friends. So it's like I code switch OD, and like it depends on like the different friend groups I have. Like some friend groups I will be like much more comfortable. Feel me? Like more like energetic, joking and stuff like that. And other group friends I'll be like more serious type, like a little slow, like like just like more quiet and reserved. So it's like yeah, I do code switch with like friends and people of like bosses and like higher ups, but at the same time also code switch between friends because like some friends can't, some people I'm like comfortable with and other people is like okay I am comfortable like not to the point where I can just like speak freely,
Yeah. So what does it mean to be black in America? Because I've heard code switching, I've heard different identity, I've heard celebrating Black History Month, but what does it even mean to be black in America?
This is a difficult question to answer
It is difficult.
because depending on where you are in America, blackness means something else. But to try to generalize in some way, it means you can be killed for walking down the street, in a hoodie, looking suspicious or threatening. But it also means that you are part of the most diverse culture in the world. And it also means that you come from a very rich and illustrious history. And even though it's been taken away from you in a sense, that should not stop you from feeling empowered by where your ancestors came from and everything that they did so that you could be here right here and now. And it is like a lot of doom and gloom because when someone's murdered by the police, you can easily say, oh, that could have been me.
Yeah.
It's easy to see yourself in someone else's shoes like Trayvon Martin or George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, people like that. But at the same time, there's also so much potential for us because we've had so many lost opportunities in the past, and now as things are progressing, we're able to step into more prominent roles. We have a lot of, well, not a lot, but we're seeing more black billionaires. That's not very common. We're seeing a lot more black businesses, entrepreneurs. We're seeing ourselves stepping outside of just sports and rap, but all over the world. And sooner or at some point in time, we'll be where we need to be in terms as a community, and both in America and around the world.
Oh, I like that. That's a powerful one. Yeah.
I think what it means to be black is like definitely it's more like depends on who you ask, like the concept. Like if you would ask like, black people, what does black mean? What does black mean? Oh, embracing your culture, embracing where you grew up with, be proud of like the color of your skin. You ask a white person, what does black mean? Be ghetto, be always like it's different between people, and even then when you in some communities when you ask a black person, oh, what does it mean for a black person to not be black? Oh, they act white, they change their slang and stuff, like they talk white. But in other black groups, they'll say, oh, to be white is like you're just against your culture. So like it's more like a nuance. It's not like one set definition. It's more like who you ask and what perspective they see being black is.
I definitely agree with that because I don't like obviously not obviously, but like I don't see myself thinking like if a black person is just ghetto. I have a like that's just not my perception of things. But I do realize and I know there's a lot of people that think that in the society today, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think back then being black in America was being like a threat or being someone that has to take more steps to get to where another person is or like being rejected. But nowadays being black in America is like being a culture. Like I feel like now people are embracing black culture Like now you walk down the streets, you hear people listen to Afrobeats. You see people trying to get locks, you see people trying to get braids, you see people trying to make African food, people wanting to go to like Africa, people wanting to embrace the culture. When back then it was like, oh, like you're black, you're ghetto, like I don't want to associate myself with you. Oh, you're black, like you're a danger. But now it's like, I feel like people are starting to embrace the culture. Like I don't know if like they're embracing the culture or it's just like they're just trying to fit in or they're trying to like I don't. It's like it's kind of hard because you don't really know if like the people like they love your culture or they just I don't want to say imitating, but like if they're tired of their own culture, so like they see your culture as something new, something that they want to experiment. So I feel like it'll never be like, I don't know, like it's always something that you, like you're not for certain, like,
Yeah.
okay, do they really like us or are they just tired of their culture? They're just trying to be a part of it anyway.
So like, if like a white person would get like braids, like how would you take that like as like cultural appropriation and stuff?
Me personally, like I don't mind, like I think it's cute, like everyone has like their preference, but I know like other people that it will affect them because like they're, I don't know how to word it, like, cause it's like back then like braids were, you know, used to like send a
Yeah.
message like through slavery, so some people like, they take that as like, what's the word? I don't know if it's culture. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they take it like culture, like where you're like mocking them
Yeah.
in a way, because it's like you don't know why you wear braids. You're only wearing it because it's cute. When in reality,
You
it
don't
was
know the
meant for
history behind it. Yeah.
You don't know the history. Like, you're just wearing it because it's cute. When there's like a huge history behind it,
Mhm.
and now people only like wear it because it's cute or because it's the hottest trend or because it's seen on Pinterest or Instagram.
I'm glad you said that because I take issue with it only because, not really because, but when, let's say like a white person gets braids or whatever, when they do it, it's considered trendy and new.
Mhm.
And we've been using these hairstyles for thousands of years even. But when we do it, it's ghetto, unprofessional, looks unkept. And not only that, our hair textures are different. These are protective styles. Most of the time people with straight hair try to get this hairstyle, their hair falls out and it scars their scalp. Which I'm saying,
That probably happened to me.
yeah, and it's just like, it's for us, it's not just a look. There's actual function behind this. That's why they call them protective styles. Protect our hair, they help us grow a lot longer. And not only that, if for black people, it's, our culture is not the dominant culture here, even though it's beloved by everyone. But the problem is, whenever we embrace our culture, it's looked down upon. And people always argue like, oh, well, if you go to Japan and wear a kimono, they're happy about that because they're the dominant culture.
Ah.
In Japan, the dominant population is Japanese people. So yes, they take pride in that, that they can see people acknowledge their culture and share that. But over here, we don't get acknowledged for our culture. It's just taken away and then put off as this grand thing, even though we've been using it forever.
So then, do you think people embrace the black culture, but not black people?
Absolutely.
Oh, y'all gotta speak on it.
Okay. The easy example, rap music, right? Let's say all of us, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say we all sit in the car and listen to Youngbloods, right? People are gonna think, that was ghetto, oh, they're probably in a gang, they're probably up to no good, right? Versus a group of white people doing it, oh, there's listening to music. Not to mention,
See, that's hard, like,
yeah,
cause I see that, like I really see that. Like I don't think I would get pulled over if I listened to Youngboy, you know.
right.
But it's crazy because like obviously I like the music, so I will listen to it. And I don't know, like I don't know what I want to say with it, but like it's just crazy to me, you know.
There's nothing wrong with listening to music,
Yeah.
but it's just perceived differently based on who's listening to it.
Well, that's because like the whole institution of like the police officers and the whole like constitution in America, like the constitution, is built off like white men and like how black people were slaves. So like, yeah, that has to change.
Change the system, yeah, systematic.
Yeah, I definitely think like like our culture is love, but we aren't, because like, one of like 2016 or like 2012, like the shapes was trendy. People like made dresses out of it, scarves, bandanas.
I remember that.
But that's
Yeah.
the like that's the time where people were still calling like an African, like, you know, or an African booty scratcher. But you were loving like our cloth, like our clothes, but like they didn't love us. Like they just like the design, because it was new to them. Because you know that's something that like America doesn't have. But like in Africa, like we have all these colorful prints. So like when they came to like social media, everyone wanted to try it. Everyone were wearing it, but like they still didn't like the black people. They just liked what we had to offer them.
Oh, so they want what they can get from you, not what they can.
It's not you that they like, it's just what
You bring
you have to offer.
something, yeah.
What you bring to the table. Okay, okay, okay.
You got that.
Nah, that don't really talk about anything that.
Okay. So, right now, with everything that's been happening right today, do you all think the black community is in a healthy space?
No.
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 There's a.
Okay.
No, I think there's so much more to do. Like, there's so much more
I feel like
that can be done to it.
I feel like the black community is not in a healthy space because both sides of the spectrum are both attacking the black community. You have people who are against the black community attacking the black community, and also people who are for the community hitting it. We have obviously the people who are against the black community hitting this, you know, calling us ghetto, trash, all kind of names, like, feel me, hating us on every single thing that we do, you know, making us not have the, you know, proper assistance and whatnot, right? We also people also want to better the community, do it in the wrong way. We have people who either act like they are helping the black community, saying they support it, but like they actually want to do it for a trend. We have people who support it in the wrong way by, you know, like during like the Black Lives Matter movement. Even though I don't believe this was black people, we can still use it. Like people were destroying buildings. I believe it was cops. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't believe none of that dumb, right? But at the same time, you'll have people who justify it, right? You also have people who would want to, you know how like people say, oh, don't snitch, this, and the third. That will harm that community, and you also have like, you know, gangsters and stuff, right? Like a lot of children see that as, oh, I want to be like that, which also like hurts the black community because like now you want to be someone who, instead of helping your own community, you want to be someone who, you know, pushes drugs, taking kids to be caught the gang and stuff. And then while also the people who want to help the black community, you have people who alienate a lot of different people, right? You will have people of different ethnicities who want to help black people, but at the same time you have like some people who are saying, okay, no, you're not allowed to help in this thing, you're not allowed to do this for us, this, that, and the third. I don't know if y'all know what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah.
And I also feel like the white people have to understand that they have to be a part of this. Like white people have like a really big part of this in like welcoming and like unifying and educate themselves and not be like blind to it. Cause like there's so many people fighting for a cause, and if white people don't listen, like we have to like meet each other, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think like the black community isn't safe, even more so now. And it's like the whole like black males selling drugs and like, you know, this, that, and the third. Most, like I feel like 9 times out of 10, it definitely is an option, but for the most part, it's like most black males don't want to see themselves working for the white man because of, you know, so it's like they tend to start off their own business, which is very dangerous. But to them, it's like, okay, I'm getting my own money, and I'm not working for anybody else but myself. And that's when you see like a lot of like young girls becoming entrepreneurs, a lot of like, you know, it's like when you do go to like a workplace, especially like black males, you're looked down upon because you're a black man, you know. So it's like you'll always be the minority if you're working in like an organization, in any type of like workspace. You'll always be the minority. Like you can either be the one that gets like the most work or the one that is ignored, like the one that doesn't get the most benefits because you're a black man. So it's like, okay, Like, I'm being looked at as this, so why can't I just like, go find like my own motion, getting my own money? And I feel like that's where like they started selling drugs and they started doing this because they cannot see themselves working for the white man because of the history behind it. So I don't really think like it's just, oh, like I'm just gonna go sell drugs because it's fun. I'm just gonna be in the streets because it's fun. But it's like they just don't see themselves being like the aggressor. They don't see themselves like, being picked on because of their skin color. And that's something that they can't help, so.
I do think the community is starting to head towards a healthier place. It's not where it needs to be, but a lot of stuff has definitely been taken, particularly like in families. Like on TikTok, I'm seeing a lot now that people are outing the pedophiles in their family, and this happens a lot in black families. Like, like let's say you have an uncle, and your mom says, "Oh, don't wear shorts around him," and they would rather tell you to go change instead of not having let that person come to your house. I'm seeing a lot of that like get removed from the family, and on top of that, the community is starting to come together more. Like with the George Floyd protests, like that was a great like demonstration of how we can come together. But the problem is when things like that die down, we just separate them.
Then we forget
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
You feel
and you have things like diaspora awards, which is so stupid. It's just, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So, like you'll see a post like, oh, East Africans are better than West Africans. Oh,
Yeah.
white skins that are better than dark skins.
Yeah.
Oh, Dominicans are better than black people. Oh, Dominicans aren't black. Stuff like that. Just a lot of like infighting that amounts to nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're fighting yourself, you can't fight the outside problem. And then on top of that, this has been in place by white people, not like right now momentarily, but divide and conquer. If you can make people fight amongst themselves, they will be too busy doing that and focus on the actual
Yeah.
problems.
For real.
So it's been like something that's been put in place, like Jim Crow era of like taking crack to the black community, segregation, putting black people in just like, the bad part of the neighborhood, not having like good houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I feel like as a black community, we aren't safe because we just tend to hate each other for no reason. Like,
Yeah,
And
why
it's-
is that? Like, why do
I
you feel
don't, that is so
Nobody-
weird to
nobody
me
knows.
because, yeah, like, you could be in a room just full of like black people, yet there's something about you that somebody else may like. Like in a room full of girls, like a group of girls won't like another group of girls because they probably don't have like the newest wig or the way they're dressed. And like the whole like West Africa versus East Africa, there's been a lot of that going on. Like Nigeria is better than Ghana, or Ghana is better than Nigeria, or like you guys stole our slang, like you guys don't speak this, or like it's like because of us that you guys are speaking this, or like one like group of rice is better than the other. Like, oh,
Hey,
Ghana-
Nigerian jollof rice is better. It's better.
See?
Okay, let's go with that.
That's the problem.
Like, it's just like.
That's fact. It's been proven. Like you eat it and you know it's better. Like let's
Like,
just
at the end of the day, we're all from Africa. So it's like, it does not matter. Like, okay, like if their rice is better than yours, go learn, Or like, just embrace their culture. Like, we're not going to, like, everything is not going to be the same, but that doesn't mean like one is better than the other. It just means like, it's a huge continent. Everything is going to be different. Like your style is going to be different. Your cooking is going to be different. The way you look is going to be different. Like it's just because like it's a huge continent. There is a lot of like diversity, and that's beautiful. I feel like we should just start like embracing like the different cultures, different like diverse, like just everything. Because at the end of the day, if we all came together, I feel like if all like black people, like just black people, African Americans, because like there's this like thing too, like black people don't think they're Africans and Africans don't think they're black people.
she's all
So it's like
okay.
we're all black, so why does it matter if I'm African American or if I'm just black or if I'm this, that, and the third? Like, and it's like now black people want to be like mixed with something just to seem more lovable, more likable.
You got people like who don't claim their identity. I'm getting sick and
Yes.
tired of those who's like, oh, we were the first Egyptians, we were the Israelites, we were the Americans, and I'm just like,
But
Why
like,
can't you
see,
just be okay with being
that's how it's supposed to be, like everywhere, even if you're white or black. Like we're people. Like it should just be like we're people, we're humans. Like we should just be like embracing everyone.
Yeah.
Like even if like whatever country you're from.
Literally.
Okay, speaking about embracing everyone, do y'all think a non-black person should say the N-word?
No.
No.
What if it's a white person that is for the culture, is
No.
woke, and it's in the lyrics, just like it was
No.
for Kendrick Lamar's lyrics, and the girl was upstage?
Well, like you said, they were woke. They wouldn't have said it.
Literally, and it's like if you're for black people, you know why you shouldn't say that word. You know why it's against, like that word is against us. Like we use it because, like I feel like we use it now because we're embracing that we are black, and like they use that word to call us like out of our skin color. We're using it because it's like, yeah, I'm black, so what? Like, you know, like that's my brother, I'm going to call him this because he's a black man. I'm a black man, we're embracing our skin color. But it's like for a white person to call a black person the N-word or just say it, it's just like, that's disrespectful because you know, like, you know, the history behind it. And even if you don't know the history behind it, you're seeing other people get, you know, bashed or like trolled for saying the N-word, so why would you do that? Like, and it's like in this time, like in this day, everyone knows like what the N-word means. So there should be no reason for you to say it. And you know.
And then it's like, to put it in like even different terms, well, we're reclaiming the word, essentially, right?
Okay.
Just like how if a man calls a woman the B-word, it's automatically a problem. But you see women amongst themselves use the word together because they're reclaiming the word. It's the same thing.
Okay.
And then like, not even just white people using the N-word, we have like a lot of other minorities use the N-word. I know somebody who just said, oh, just, we're all minorities, we can use the N-word. It's like, but you didn't go through what we went through back. Like, I mean, yeah, there is slavery around the whole world, but like, we've been through it like the worst, and like it's recent, like, feel me? There's like still negative connotation. I remember one time, it was a Native American who came to the class, non-black, said the ER.
Oh,
I
yeah,
felt
in
like
class.
I got hurt.
Yeah.
It was just a word, she said it 12 times, and I was like,
Yeah, I was in that
I
class.
felt physical pain. I'm like,
But it wasn't a script, so would you justify that like she's
No.
reading off of a script?
No.
Because you don't have to say it. We know the connotation it holds.
No, but the thing is, like, when you see that word and or like hear it, like that should stop you. Like if you see it, like you should like stop and say, be like,
and to add on the
like
point,
I feel like you should be shocked when you say it. Sorry.
no, you go. To add on the point, there should not be anything, oh, because of this certain situation, it should be justified. You have to stand on like you have to stand on something. You can't just say, oh, because of the lyrics, you can't say, okay. So then a white person come up and to say the N-word and be like, oh no, it's part of the lyric. You have to stand on something and stay on that. Like, you just can't say, oh, certain things can break through that barrier that we have. Okay, nobody, like everybody who's not black cannot say the N-word. You can't say, oh, it's in the script, they can say it. It's in the lyric, they can say it. This, that, and the third. Like, okay, so what's wrong? A white person come and say, oh, it's in the lyric. It's in the lyric, I can say it. It's in the script, I can say it. What's wrong? Like, you have to stand on something and keep that there, or else you don't have nothing to stand for, and then now you're gonna have like everyone's just saying that, and there's no like, you know, like there's
Yeah.
Then you're hiding behind the facts and so on.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know people, I have friends, black, like me, and they like, yes, they will tell, you know, your non-black friends, like, you can call me, you can use the N-word around me. What do you guys think about that? Would you use it, or would you like say, okay, since it's just to them, it's okay, or it's
No.
something?
You have them saying like, even if it's your close friend, they have to understand that you are not able to say the word. You know what I'm saying?
Like I've had friends that have told me that, like black people telling like my black friends telling me that.
Let's say, oh, here's that N-word class.
Yeah, the N-word pass.
No, like it shouldn't be like that. I feel like a person should just be knowing what their respect behind it and like be respectful. Like even if you tell me I can use that, I'm not gonna do it, because like that word is loaded with things in history that is not okay to like for me to say.
But I also feel like a black person like telling like the right person, like, oh, you could say this word. It's not them like giving them like the okay pass. It's them like okay, like, you've been with us for so long, like, you know, like, we're close, like, I trust you, you trust me. Like, you shouldn't say it, but that's just them, like, showing you that, like, you're one of them, like, we're equal. So it's not like, okay, just say the word because, you know, I gave you the pass to, but it's like, you know, like, it's just showing, like, equality. Even though you shouldn't say the word, it's just like, you know, like, that person views you as, like, a brother or a sister. Because, like, they could, like, for them to even say, like, okay, it's okay for you to say that word, it's showing some sort of, like, trust or, like, a really strong bond.
So, in the past year, month, week, day, have you guys had any conversation that has been remotely racist?
Well, I was working like this summer. I was working back in my old job, like in a school back home, and the one teacher goes like in, like we were in like a room with just like us teachers, and I was working as a substitute teacher, and she says the N-word like in the room with us colleagues, and because we have like a shot, like back in Sweden we have like a chocolate ball, and like before in history, like it's crazy, in history they called it like the N-word and the ball after like the N-word and the ball. So people still say that, but the thing is like everyone knows that you're not supposed to say that, and like you say chocolate ball, it's called chocolate ball. But this woman, she said like the N-word in the ball, and I was like, I'm sorry, but like, because we have like a cooking class like in school and back home, and I'm like, and she's like, we bake those balls, and I was like, I'm sorry, but you don't say that. Like, I hope you didn't say that in front of your class, because that is not okay. Like, I'll have to like report it to the principal, because you cannot say that in front of class. Like, that is just crazy. And she was like, oh, I didn't realize. And I'm like, if you don't realize you're saying that, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's a big problem. Like, you shouldn't be a teacher if you're not realizing you're saying that.
Oh, that's heavy on
Off of the teachers, I hate the fact that they really, you know, like teachers are meant to teach kids, like, the next generation. And there's teachers that literally, like, do not like black people. And you're in a room full of, like, kids, you know, black kids at that. And, like, I went to school in Buffalo, I went to Hashtag, and, like, one of the teachers, he told, like, a Hispanic kid, you know, like, he was Afro-Latino, so, like, you could see that he was also black, but he was also Latino. And, like, he told him, like, he would end up in jail or dead. And, like, the kid did end up passing away, which is crazy. But it's just the fact that, like, for you to even think that, and you're a teacher, you're supposed to be teaching us, the next generation. And then, like, they wonder why a lot of, like, black students are disrespectful, or they don't want to go to school, they don't want to be around, you know. It's like you're supposed to be teaching these kids to be better people. Like, they're the next, like, you know, they could be the next lawyers, next doctors, anything. And you're just discriminating them because of their skin color. You're making them feel uncomfortable. Then they start missing out on school days, and they start failing. And you guys just say, oh, like, you label them as dumb because they don't come to school because they're failing. But you don't make them comfortable for them to come to school. So they miss school because of you. And it's like you label them as stupid or like just the bare minimum.
And the thing is, like, if a white kid would be stupid or like just like behind, they would just help that kid.
Literally,
Like,
it's okay, you know. But if a black kid was to be behind in school, like, they'll just make like every issue, like, you know, what's going on at home, like this and the third. It's just so much. But like, if it was like another kid, it's just, you know, oh, it's okay, like, are you okay, do you need help, like, what could we do to like help you? But like, if a black student was, you know, to say like, oh, and it's like, I hate the fact that like with black kids, when you tell like a teacher or professor like you have things going on, they think you're lying.
And watching our very first episode, thank you all to this amazing panel, and y'all stay tuned for episode 2 coming soon. Thank you guys, and we're out.